Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and welcome to This Week in WoW for the week of April 1st. April Fool's Day. I'm not going to play any tricks personally, but Blizzard will probably release some of their normal joke things that they do today. But before we get started, let's go ahead and thank the Patreon subscribers. We have Mario Casillas, Red Pally Rocks, Nick Rada, and Peter Burnham. Thank you guys so much for that support. And let's go ahead and dive into the things that are going on this week. Nothing that's going to knock your socks off. We do have a PvP Brawl Packed House going on this week. We do have Timewalking returning this week with Warlords of Draenor Timewalking. One of the ones I actually like a lot. A lot of just quick linear dungeons there without a lot of gimmicks. And I just like how quick they are, honestly. If I'm going to be doing the Timewalking, I kind of don't want them to be super involved like some of the Pandaria ones are, honestly. We do have the March of the Tadpoles going on, and of course, the Darkmoon Fair, which we always give a shout out, even when it's not as relevant, because it's something that I believe is getting revamped, and I think deserves a revamp and an update. I think that will be coming at some point here. It would actually make sense for it to happen during midnight, but we'll see. But I'm definitely looking forward to that very, very much. In terms of what else is going on this week, we haven't had a ton of stuff going out, but we can talk about a couple things that happened last week. So last week they did do a poll, and I did a video on this, about voting for your favorite Mythic dungeon for the War Within. So that means any of the ones from Season 1 or Season 2, just the War Within dungeons in general. So that would be, currency. Let's just go to War Within. So that would be Arakara, Cinderbrew, City of Threads, Darkflame Cleft, Priory, Dawnbreaker, Rookery, Stonevault, and Floodgate. Those are the ones you can vote for. I don't know how many they're going to select for next season. This is likely how they're going to choose which ones. They're just going to choose the most popular ones. That would be my guess. And I don't know how many they're going to choose, whether it's going to be 4 or 6 or whatever. But there you have it. If you want more information on that, you can watch my video. If you don't want to watch my video, you can just go to the forums. Go to community general discussion, I believe, on the WoW forums. And you can vote for it up there. There's an NA poll and there's an EU poll that you can take part in there. So that came out, and I thought that was kind of interesting. So obviously that's why I did a video on it. There was some other minor news that came out, and it's, it was already pretty much confirmed, but a Legion remix. So Mists of Pandaria remix, if you didn't do that, it basically was you could redo Mists of Pandaria in like super powered gear and super overpoweredness and kind of get some of the achievements, the mounts, the set appearances, some of the stuff you may not have collected. For me, it was a lot of stuff because I actually didn't play much of Mists of Pandaria, almost barely played it at all. And so I went and did that. I did a couple videos on it. I might do a couple videos on Legion Remix. We'll see. Especially if there's anything specific Rep Paladin to do, then maybe, because Legion was very class specific. And so maybe if there's anything specific to do, I would do a video on that. But maybe some general videos as well. I did a few on Mop Remix. I probably could have done more, honestly. It was very popular, actually. It was extremely popular. I probably should have done more stuff on that. So if I'm having fun with Legion Remix, I might do some content for that, especially if it's a down period. When is Legion Remix going to come out? I'm not sure. If I had to guess, it would either be, and I would be very surprised, it would either be in the next couple months, while this patch is kind of getting into its downtime, right? So towards the back half of this patch, or it would come out like towards the end of the year, at the beginning or middle of the next patch. So that's kind of where I would see it coming. So like 11.2. So either in a couple months or in like 8 months or something like that, right? It's kind of where I would see it happening. Maybe November, maybe even October or something like that. That's kind of where I would see it coming. But I'm not sure. I will get more dates on that. I'll keep updating on it. It is something fun, and Legion was very beloved, so there will at least be a lot of nostalgia in doing like a Legion remix, and maybe some people, a lot of people came back to WoW for Legion, so maybe they didn't do the high-end stuff. They were just getting back into it. So maybe some people were like, hey, I want to go kill Gul'dan, or I want to do this or that. I didn't get a chance to do it, but it looked cool, and my friends were doing it, but I just came back and maybe I didn't get a chance to do it. I could see a lot of that, honestly, from some people. So we had some news, just some stuff being data mined about it, basically confirming it. It's already pretty much been confirmed, but Legion Remix coming. When it comes to this week, like I said, there's nothing like really planned on the docket. except for the esports stuff is starting up again this week. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. However, I do kind of like it. I would say more the PvE than the PvP, as you could probably guess if you watch my channel. I'm not a huge PvP person anymore. You know, I really love Plunderstorm, but that's not really World of Warcraft, I suppose. And that's kind of where my PvP is these days. I don't PvP on World of Warcraft, even though I love playing against other players competitively in other games. The AWC will be starting up, but also the MDI. That's something I like a lot more for me personally. So even if you, let's say you don't like esports, I actually like watching the MDI or the TGP, kind of just to get, especially if it's early on in the season, like this is early enough in the season that I can actually get tips and tricks from watching it and be like, oh wow, that makes that key a lot easier, or wow, you just do this pull, if you just pull it here and line of sight it here, it's perfect and you can just kill everything. That stuff helps a lot. It really helps just the general community, the general pug community, be able to maybe pug, you know, some stuff a little bit easier than what they currently do. And so I love watching it for that. I love being able to be like, hey, yeah, do this, do this, do this. You know, even help at this point, it's like it's going to be far enough into the season that where it's not going to really help in this case. But in one of the seasons of Shadowlands, I was like, yeah, to do this dungeon faster, you just have to do this, this, and this. And, you know, it helped a lot. And I only learned that by watching like the MDI or whatever it was. So I do like watching it personally. I definitely will watch the MDI, but that's coming up. If you don't like that stuff, I totally understand. That's not for everybody by any means. Other than that, I'm having great fun progressing the Mythic raid. We are on 6 Junk Bunker now. We're 3 of 8, and we got very good progression on Styx. I would not be surprised if he dies next week, and then we move on to Sprocketmonger, Lock and Stock. And honestly, that fight's going to get easier and easier with gear, because you're not even going to do the final phase eventually as you overgear it. So, and a lot of people already aren't. So maybe we won't even do the final phase, which case makes the fight much, much easier. And that could actually go down pretty quickly. And then we would just be stuck with a lot of guilds on the one-armed bandit, most likely. Because a lot of guilds happen to be stuck there right now on one-armed bandit. So that could happen very, very soon for us. Probably not this week, but, you know, within the next week. But I'm having a blast in the Mythic raid in general. I think it's really fun. And it's not even very great for Rep Paladins, I would say. But I'm still having a lot of fun in there anyways. So, you know, I think that's pretty interesting. I think that says a lot about the raid. If you're having a lot of fun and it's not even really good for your particular spec or class or whatever. So yeah. Anything else? So one thing, you know, I've been trying to get more and more into Mythic Plus content or whatever. And like just talk about Mythic Plus. You know, I'm pretty well versed on like knowing what talents to run, knowing, you know, maybe even specific stuff for dungeons if people ask me. I'm pretty good at knowing that. In experiencing that. However, I never really push high keys, and I'm still not going to push high keys. But I think I've decided that I am going to try to push for the 3000 rating just to get that mount for 3000. I think it's cooler than the one I'm on now. Try to push for that 3000 rating. So I actually did my first plus 12 this week. It went very, very well. You know, I just pugged it, right? So I was a little bit nervous, but we timed it very, very easily in that plus 12. It was rookery. And so I'm gonna work on it. It's a little bit monotonous for me to like slowly push my score up, which you have to do, especially when you're pugging. But I do think I'm gonna go for that 3000 and acquire that mount, and then that'll also have given me a little bit of a higher key experience than what I would normally do. And again, there's an incentive to do it, right? You know, I keep hearing this quote lately, and it's, if you show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. So you put that cool mount at 3000, and the outcome's gonna be that I'm going to do a little bit higher keys than what I would normally do. And so that's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for my Rep Paladin content, for anybody who wants to know anything about Rep Paladin stuff, because I will have had that experience of doing a little bit higher key than what I normally do. Because a lot of times I do give the caveat, this is just for like plus 10s or weekly keys or whatever. So I'll have a little bit more experience. And, you know, maybe someday, maybe one season I would push keys higher. I don't know. I kind of like it, but there's also parts of it that I don't like, and I could do a whole video about that, but I won't bore you with that here. So yeah, coming up this week, I'm just hoping for more news dumps, of course. Like I said, there's really nothing on the docket. We'll keep an eye out for more corruption changes. We'll keep an eye out for more Legion Remix updates, and if anything's more concrete, give a nice video about that as well. Obviously, I'll have my vault coming out today. We are really hoping for a mythic weapon. Even though we have a heroic vest in slots, at this point we do kind of want a mythic weapon. Gear's getting up there pretty good, 665. And we could also use some better trinkets too, to be completely honest. But that's fine as well. Yeah, we'll leave it here. I could probably just talk about random stuff forever because that's kind of what I do. But yeah, as always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.